Okay, test 1, 2, 3. Recording with Luke on Wednesday, the 17th of April. Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
And I've got you as well, loud and clear. So my headset's got the ANR on as well, and flaps are coming up.
Flaps up. Transponder.
Okay, so it does not say 1200, it says 4747. So you're going to change that. Okay, now let me show you one other trick.
Sure.
See how it says 4747?
Yes.
If I just hit the button that says VFR on this one, that's what 1200 means, is VFR. So that's a shortcut for 1200.
Okay, and that's, just to confirm, I asked this last time, but we only need to enter or have it display this, no other button to set it?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because look, the minute I type, you get a flashing cursor, or a cursor for entry. So once you've entered the required 3 digits, the cursor goes away.
Okay.
If you don't enter all 3 digits, or all 4 digits, then you got a problem.
Okay, so we're good on the expiration.
Okay.
This, and find out that it's not working apparently.
Right.
Okay, the radio frequencies. So we need the ground frequency, so that's the active one.
So that's ATIS.
Oh, that's ATIS. Okay.
On COM2 and active.
Okay, so 125.9.
So that should go up here. It's not there, so you're going to have to enter that, the 125.9.
Okay.
So actually, we're going to replace the 121.5. So what happened is the last person who flew this did the ELT check and then didn't change the frequency back to something else. So that's what the 121.5 is currently. Okay, and that's the first one we're going to use. So now you're going to flip that to be active. And now you have in standby the tower frequency already.
Just 121.
Okay, good. So we got the 3 that we want there.
And then what... Remind me of what the standby should be here for this radio?
Right now, nothing.
Okay.
Because you don't need it.
Okay.
Later on, when we're going to go to another airport, we'll set it up for the weather information at another airport.
Gotcha. Okay, so we did the ATIS. Altimeter.
Nope, hold it. So
we need to call
actually
the ATIS.
get the ATIS, right. So the first was setting the frequency so that you'll be able to do that, and now this is let's actually get the data transcribed down. So in order to listen to that second radio, you're going to have to do something. So right now you're listening to this unit, COM1.
Okay.
Confirmation Bravo.
There we go.
15470, wind 1203, visibility 10, clear skies below 12,000. Temperature 16, 2.11, altimeter 3016. VO off, approaching you, land departing runway 19er. Advise contact information Bravo. Time information Bravo, 15470, wind 1203, visibility 10, clear skies below 12,000. Temperature 16, 2.11, altimeter 3016. VO off, approaching you, land departing runway 19er. Contact information Bravo.
Okay.
All right.
So let's go ahead and hit COM1, then we don't have to listen to him anymore. So now, winds are 120
at 3 knots.
3 knots. So that is 70 degrees off of runway 19er, so that's why we're using a 19er.
Okay.
Now, 120 is the southeast. That is the most unusual direction to get winds at Almaty.
And those are winds coming out of the southeast.
So 120 over that direction.
Okay.
Exactly. And in fact, you look at the windsock, and you see you're almost looking into the windsock. Yeah. So southeast winds are unusual at Almaty. We usually get winds out of the south and southwest, and when the winds turn around and come out of the north, that's what we call the Santa Ana condition.
Okay.
Okay, so back to our checklist.
Cessna 4 Whiskey Papa, runway 19er, taxi Alpha. Taxi to runway 19er.
All right, so now we need to set the altimeter.
Okay. Now notice, the altimeter setting has changed a lot. What does it say the current altitude is?
100.
Yeah, less than 100 feet.
Yeah.
So this is why setting this is important, because that is way off.
So we're at 30.16?
Yep. So we've gone from low pressure to high pressure. And each tenth of an inch of mercury translates to about 100 feet of altitude.
320, which was what it was last time, or we're slightly below 300 here, which is what we'd expect.
Yep.
Okay, the directional gyro.
So you're pointed a little over west, so maybe 275 on that.
Okay.
And that says 275. Okay, perfect. Now, that's not right, actually. And here's why I know that. The airport, you can get airport information. Here is an airport diagram for El Monte. And what does it say the runway direction is? 193.2 degrees. That's a lot of precision, huh? For runway 19er.
And it's that straight down the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, this direction is changing at a rate of 1/10 of a degree west as of January 2015.
Oh, because due to the precession of the North Pole. Okay.
Right. So, there's a lot of detail somewhere buried in here. Now, you are, if you are on this line perfectly, you are perpendicular to the runway.
Yeah.
Which would mean that our heading actually should be 283 degrees. So, this is not perfect, but they at least agree.
Sure. Okay. So at this point we're ready to taxi to the hold line?
Okay, your plane.
Okay. All right.
But you may need your hand on the throttle to get us a little power. You're off the brakes. Okay. Give it a little power. There we go. Okay, now go ahead and come to a stop. Because now we're doing the brake check, so we're making sure your brakes work. And now my plane.
Okay, your plane.
And I'm checking to make sure my brakes work. And if mine suddenly didn't, I'd say your airplane and we wouldn't fly. Your plane.
All right, my plane.
And that does happen occasionally. I've had a couple of times I go to do the brake check and it's like, my toes go to the floor.
Really? That has happened? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Good stop?
Yep. So I like to keep the line where I can see it so I know I'm not trying to push the line.
Got it.
And you can see both ends of the runway, both ends of the taxiway, so you've got plenty of visibility here.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and pull our power back to 1,000 when we come to stop. There we go. Good. And starting to think about what that sounds like.
Sure.
Okay. So, same four things that we're going to say. Who we're talking to.
Yes.
Who we are, where we are, and what we want. So that's going to translate to...
Almani ground, 19760.
Okay, and I usually tell them Skyhawk. That is not required. If you say just 19760, that is absolutely legal and fine.
Okay.
But Skyhawk or Cessna tells them what kind of aircraft you are.
Okay. So Skyhawk 19760 on row 22. Taxi for takeoff with... I should have this in my...
That's why you write it down, though.
Bravo.
Bravo. You got it.
And then, okay.
And then he is likely to tell you to taxi to 19er
via
Alpha, and you will have to read back 19er via Alpha 760.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're on COM 1 on the ground frequency.
You got it.
Okay. Almani ground, this is Skyhawk 19760 on row 22, taxi for takeoff with Bravo.
Skyhawk 19760, Almani ground, runway 19er, taxi via Alpha.
Runway 19er via Alpha 760.
Okay, good.
Almani ground, radio check.
So we're okay to roll.
Ground clear, help me.
Okay.
303 Hotel Victor at Whiskey Hangars would like to taxi for takeoff. I have Bravo. November 303 Hotel Victor, Almani ground, runway 19er, taxi via Alpha. Alpha to 19, 303 Hotel Victor.
Okay, now you're going straight, so you don't need brakes, so make sure your feet are low on those pedals. But it means that you have to, the amount you have to push the pedals when you're not using brakes is a greater amount, and you have to anticipate a little more. The brakes give you greater control, but you don't want to get in the habit of using that all the time.
Okay.
Because they're incompatible with takeoff and landing. And they're incompatible with going fast.
We're going to do the same loop into the run-up area?
Yeah, there's nobody down there, so my habit is to line up at this end of it so that if a bunch of airplanes get lined up ready for takeoff, we can get into line more easily. Now, if there's somebody in there, then we have to adjust how we're going to get into the run-up area based on who's there and how they're oriented.
Oh, that's the wrong way.
Yep. Go ahead and keep us on line. Good. Okay, so there, we can go ahead and start to make our turn into the run-up area. And we're crossing into the run-up area. Now keep going straight a little bit, because you want to be able to anticipate that turn and come back in parallel to the double solid lines. You're okay to cross these double dash lines. Okay, so go ahead and start your turn now.
Okay.
A little bit of power. You see we're starting to get slow there. And I certainly am looking around for pedestrians or cars that might be here. And you can see your wing is nowhere near the hangar, so that's fine. And now you see an airplane that's coming in. He'll be joining us in the run-up area. That's Jose. And that is a Bonanza. That's a retractable gear, 6-seat airplane.
On task.
Okay, good. That's it.
Okay. So that might be I'm a little close to the line, I think.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
The double solid line, your wing can actually extend over that.
Okay.
Now, when you're holding short of the runway, whereas the double solid double dash line, we try and keep all the parts of the airplane on this side of that line
Gotcha.
at that point.
Okay.
But you notice if you were taxiing, your wing would have been hanging over that double solid line there.
That's true. Okay. All right, so now we're ready to do the
run-up. You go.
Okay, so the brakes are set.
Good.
Now we do our box. So it's left.
It doesn't really matter, but that's my habit, is all the way left first. And that should mean that goes up, that goes down. Down. Stay left and come back.
Go up.
Okay, good.
Okay, now we play, so we go up on that one, down on the left.
Right.
And then we go down.
Okay, good. And then I usually come back to the middle, go forward and backward, just feel that it's smooth in there.
Okay.
And then our rudders.
All right. Left rudder.
Okay.
And
I can see it just barely. Yep.
Okay.
And it's one of those things that actually the motion is helpful. If I see it in motion, I see kind of a change in reflection sometimes.
Got it.
Because you can see that rear window is kind of foggy.
Sure.
And the sun on it makes it a little tough to see through it as well.
Okay. So altimeter, were we checking that? So we're at 30 at 1.6, and that looks reasonable.
Okay,
still.
Yeah, around 300 feet, good.
Okay, our heading, now we've changed about 40 degrees or so.
Yep.
And that supports. The attitude indicator, or right above the horizon.
Right. Good. So now, we're going to take communication, navigation, GPS, autopilot thing. So we can flip over to tower now.
Okay.
Because they'll let us move from right here to the hold short point of the runway without talking to anybody. And we're now setting up for the next frequency, which is the practice area frequency that we need.
Which is 123.3.
Affirmative.
Okay, so.
Okay, good.
Says 4 pop, turn left at Delta contact ground.
Turn left Delta contact ground.
Okay, so now we check our fuel selector. Can I test? Is it okay to test?
Absolutely.
Okay. Run both.
Okay.
Elevator trim.
So this one we want some extra nose up trim. So roll the wheel down, backwards, however you want to think of that, until that line is about 1/4 of an inch. Yeah, about like that.
I see a little notch for the O, I guess, on takeoff.
Yeah, that's
okay.
fine. So somewhere around there.
Okay.
On 760 at least. Now, I watch this airplane. This is... So you notice that the pilot over there went to the other end. Look to your right now. Notice the pilot went over there.
Yeah.
So this pilot is kind of in the position needing to go behind one of us in order to get between the aircraft.
I see, so that's why he didn't come.
Right. Now, had I been Jose, I would have lined up next to us as opposed to leaving a gap in the middle. Because leaving gaps is the hardest thing for a pilot to get into. Because if you stay too far back, he may not seriously be able to get in at all.
Right. Okay, so the mixture, we go full in, we run up to 1700.
Okay, and you're holding those brakes extra hard because it's about to try and lurch forward on you, trying to do by sound. You're in the range there.
Alright, so now we do the carb heat is on.
And you saw the RPM drop.
Yep.
Okay. And then you turn it back off and make sure it returns, because if it doesn't return to the original RPM, something happened in that process.
Sure.
And I've had that happen where they pulled it out and the cable broke in pulling it out, and then it didn't actually go back in the way you expected.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, circuit breakers. Okay, the magnetos. Now we're going to do... There we go. Same drop.
Okay.
Okay. The primer is locked in place.
Okay.
Suction we don't have. That's
Correct. Would have been that little small circle there, exactly.
pressure.
Oil pressure looks good.
Oil temperature is also in the good.
Yeah, you'll find we bumped this with, the other one is mounted here, which you're less likely to bump, but also does give you a panel view.
Ammeter, okay, throttle, idle.
Other direction. There we go. And all the way to out. Because what we're trying to make sure is that it does run okay at idle. Okay, good. And now back to about 1,000 by sound.
Right close traffic.
Cessna 140 Papa El Monte Tower, right close traffic approved on a 19er, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, only 19er, 114 with
So you see where this guy's going to be for a second. This is one of the reasons I tend to line up here, because you can get behind him, whereas the guy over there is now blocked from pulling into the line.
Okay. So the speeds, should I recheck this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the three that I want is best glide speed.
There's 80.
Okay. VY, best rate of climb speed, 82. And final approach for landing in the short field configuration, which is also shown on the other side in the speeds for landing.
Shorter runway 19er, like
69. Okay.
Okay. Okay, doors are locked.
Cherokee 225, Uniform El Monte Tower.
Okay.
Good.
Good.
Short departure approved.
Right.
Okay.
Runway 19er,
So
clear
we
for
can go
takeoff.
ahead and move into position for takeoff.
A little bit of power.
Yep.
Is brake on this turn?
Yep. Affirmative. Okay, and I'll take over communication for now.
Okay.
Okay, you're into position, and yeah, we can stop right about there. That way we're not, you can still see the line ahead of you.
Certainly.
You can see anybody who's on final. El Monte Tower, Skyhawk 19er 760, holding short of 19er southeast departure and a short delay.
Cessna 19760, El Monte Tower, departure approved as requested, runway 19er, clear for takeoff.
19er clear for takeoff, 760. Okay, lights, so we can put strobe and landing.
Runway 19er, clear for the option.
Camera, we are on altitude and 1200, and action, mixture rich. And now your right hand on the throttle,
Okay.
left hand gently on the yoke. Okay, and a little power to get us rolling. And then, yeah, you can use a little bit of brakes here. But now let's try and do from here on without brakes. So now let's move those feet to lower pedals, reduce power a little bit. Reduce power.
All right.
There we go. And just keep us on the line. And now you can see if you do full rudder but no brake, you can actually do this turn with planning without brakes. Okay. So now moving us slowly over to the center line. And now let's start to add full power. Make sure your feet are low on the pedals, no brakes. Because if I feel kind of that surge, says to me you're on the brakes a little bit.
Full power.
Okay, good. And all the way in with your right hand. And then just kind of put your thumb on the back of it. And that's holding it in. Good. A little more right rudder to keep us centered. Pull back on the yoke just a little bit. There we go. And then just hold that and it should fly off the runway. Pull back a little more, a little more. Okay? And then look and see. Okay, you're at about 85. So maybe pitch it up just slightly.
Okay.
And trim a little bit if you feel like you're having to push or pull.
Right. Feels light.
Okay. Now, notice the ball?
Yes.
See, just a little more right rudder step on the ball. You're going to keep that amount of right rudder in the whole time that you're climbing. Because that's as a result of full power at this speed with a high angle of attack.
So we're a little bit below our...
Okay, so just lower the nose slightly. How's trim? If you take the hands off, what's the airplane do? Drops almost immediately, so pull it back to where you want it and roll back just a little. Okay, not too far because I saw the nose move with that as opposed to holding what you have. Good. Now, we're over 500 feet above the ground, so we're going to make a left turn. So look under your left wing. Nobody there?
Yep.
Look forward, and now establish that 20-degree bank to start your turn. A little left rudder. But the reality is you still need a little right rudder. It's just less right rudder because of left turn. Notice we're a little slow, so just lower that nose just a little bit. And do you see a building on top of a little bump of a hill ahead of you? That's what we're aiming for. That's where that little green island was on the chart. That's the Industry Hills Golf Course and Hotel. Now the problem is at some point you're going to lose the ability to see that. But you still can tell if you're turning. If you kind of look to the right, you see if you start to turn into things.
Yes.
You can see the change of that. And you maybe can pick a point further off in the distance to aim for. Or you could look at your heading and go, I'm at about 100-degree heading, right? Lots of different ways of figuring out where you're going.
Tower Bonanza 303 Hotel Victor runway.
Okay, so we're just south of the 10 freeway. You see it there?
Yes.
And we're slowly diverging away from it.
That's the 760, free change approved.
Frequency change approved, 760.
And 303 Hotel Victor,
Flip over. Okay. Now, you see a freeway that you're going to cross here in a second. That's the 605. And do you see a railroad track off your left here?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So let's follow that railroad track.
Okay.
And that'll take us away from El Monte. And that's the one that, coming back in, would bring you back in here. Now, you see the hill off in the distance is starting to be visible?
Yes.
So that's that high point in Orange County, Santiago.
Okay.
Now, you notice another freeway off your right that you're slowly converging with.
Yes.
That's the 60 or the Pomona freeway.
Okay.
That runs into downtown LA and on the other end converges with the 10 out near Banning.
So 60, 605, and 10.
10. You got it.
Okay.
4512, just west of the landfill, power off stalls.
What altitude?
2,700.
And La Habra Cessna 760 is just south of the 10605 towards Industry Hills, climbing through 2,300 looking for you.
Santa Fe traffic, West Blue Cessna.
So there is somebody in our practice area, approximately a head to our left, at around our altitude. So we're going to climb to 3,200.
Okay.
And we're keeping our eyes open. So as I'm flying, I'm looking and looking and looking and looking and looking and looking. And I have to rest my eyes for a few seconds to see motion. If you just scan across, you kind of smear out the relative motion that helps you find aircraft. And we don't have the nice traffic information.
Red and white says that over La Puente Mall, 2,700, power off stalls towards eastbound.
So now he's very different than from where he said he was before. Now, notice the jet up there?
Yes.
That is one of the LAX jets, and the reason we can't be too high here, because that's what they're doing, heading to LAX.
Okay, and that's the approach.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they set up, in most cases, for very long, straight-in approaches there.
I know that approach. I'm going in there.
Okay, we're going through 3,000.
Okay. Are we 3,200?
Affirmative.
Okay.
So about 50 feet before your target, you're going to look out, lower the nose, speed up.
Okay, we're about 50 feet below.
Okay, so lower that nose, look out. So think about putting it down about there. That's about what it looks like to me.
Okay.
And then immediately see it wants to fight you, so start trimming forward. So keep it there. And then roll that trim forward to help overcome. And then it glance and go, yeah, we're close to zero in our vertical speed. And now you hear the engine starting to race. Let's pull it back to about 2,300 RPM. Now you see how the nose is still coming up a little bit. Go ahead and lower it. La Habra practice area, Cessna 760 is 3,200 over Industry Hills Golf Course, currently eastbound La Habra. So now we're a little bit high, so go ahead and lower that nose a little. And you see the jets are just continuous.
Yes.
Now, you see this X-shaped mall over here?
Yes.
And the big parking lot around it, that is the Puente Hills Mall, P-U-E-N-T-E Hills. And did you ever see Back to the Future?
I haven't, but
okay.
I'm aware.
That is a mall that featured in that movie. It wasn't called Puente Hills, it was called Twin Pines in the movie.
Okay.
And that's where Doc Brown gets shot by the Libyan terrorists. Okay, now let's aim for that hill over there.
This prominent one.
Exactly.
Okay, so we'll take a 20-degree bank as well?
Yeah, although it won't take very long, and we're keeping us 3,200. Okay, and then we're rolling out. Good. Now keep us 3,200 so we can lower that nose a little, because you notice
we're creeping out.
3 mile north east of Pasadena downtown.
So that's somebody out there where we normally go. La Habra practice area, Cessna 760 southeast of Industry Hills 3,200. La Habra. Okay. Now, I have yet to see the guy who was reporting out in this area. He should, from what he was saying, be... Yeah, there he is. I just got him. You see a glint down in the left?
There we go. Yeah.
And Cessna 760 has the traffic that's near the 57 and 60. Okay, so now I want to do a 30-degree bank turn all the way around to we're pointed here, keeping us 3,200.
And continuous.
Continuous,
okay.
Exactly. Okay, there's your 30-degree bank. Now, the nose just dropped, and it takes a while to show up there, so we need the nose a little higher. So pull enough that you see the nose change. There we go, good. La Habra, Cessna 760, just east of Puente Hills, 3,200 turns, right over the 60.
Santa Fe traffic, white blue Cessna 34 Victors, directly over 210-605 interchange, 2,500 climbing 3,500 heading east, Santa Fe.
Off to our left, is that the golf course? That
Yes,
little green patch
exactly,
that you mentioned?
exactly. Good, you notice that we're climbing. Now, you pushed more than you needed to, because that's going to turn into a big descent, so make that change just a little smaller. And there goes, he's following the 60 below us. Okay. Now, at 30-degree bank, you don't have to lead the roll out all that much. There we go. Good. So now let's do that 30-degree bank to the left.
Okay. All right.
As you bank in, the nose tends to want to drop, and it takes a second to show there, so you're looking at that horizon. Yeah, go ahead and pull it up a little more, a little more, a little more, a little more. About there is about level, and now you need to slowly adjust up a little to get us back to our target.
La Habra practice area, says red and white Cessna 2.512, 3 miles east of the La Puente Hills Mall, climbing to 3,000 feet.
So we're descending ever so slightly, so just pull it up a little bit more. And La Habra Cessna 760 is about 2 to 3 east of Puente Hills Mall, 3,200. We have you southwest of us. We're in the turn to the east.
Roger, Cessna 2.512.
Okay, and there's our target there. Now, do you see the 57 freeway we were discussing? You see the intersection there?
Sure.
Now, if we head this direction, we miss Ontario's airspace for a while, so we're okay to go a little past it here. But if I continue that way, more directly east, you'd hit Ontario's airspace pretty quickly. Okay, so now let's do 45-degree banks.
Right?
Yes. Right or left. You can do them both, so you can do whichever you want first.
Okay, we'll go to the right.
Okay. So make sure you're looking here as you establish that pitch and bank. The rudder and aileron as you roll in right over to about what you think 45. Now the nose just dropped a little bit, but we're a little bit high, but it's still a little low, so go ahead and pull a little more, pull a little more, pull a little more, pull a little more, pull more. I haven't seen the nose change there. Now I'm starting to see it change, but it still needs to come just a little higher, because you notice we're still in the descent. Our bank looks good. You're at 45. That's good. And we need just a little more right rudder. See the ball there? Okay. Looking good. Coming around now. Lead it a little bit more now. Rudder and aileron as you roll out. And now let the nose back down so we don't turn into too much of a climb. So find again that level pitch. There, you felt just a little bump. That was our weight. So now let's do it to the left.
The practice area, red and white Cessna 24512, about
a little too much bank, so, and nose is low. Pull. Pull. A lot. Because I haven't seen the nose change. See our rate of descent there? There we go. So we lost 200 feet almost immediately.
Yeah, okay.
Because that nose dropped in that slightly too steep bank. Okay, good. You're in the process of adjusting us back to our target, keeping us at 45. So I'm integrating all that information. Good. We're back to our target altitude almost. Now, nose just dropped. Pull it back up a little bit. And our target coming into view, rudder and aileron there.
We're a little low.
Okay, so slowly adjusting us back up. Now you notice this road goes through an area with no development here.
Yes.
This is called the Brea Pass, B-R-E-A.
Okay.
Similar to La Brea tar pits, but it's associated with, you see a mall just to the west of the freeway down there? Kind of a big area. Yes. That's the Brea Mall. That's the city of Brea just on the other side. Okay. La Habra practice area, Cessna 760 is near the Brea Pass, 3,200 La Habra. Okay, so now, let's turn back around.
Okay.
Just a 180-degree bank, 180-degree turn, and just a 20-degree bank. Just a nice, easy one.
We're not at the point where we can do a 180-degree bank yet?
No, not yet. We need a different airplane for that. Notice how the 57 and 60 run together for about 2 or 3 miles there.
Sure.
And then they split again. That difference is going to be important later for pilotage for where we are, because if you're at the north intersection, you're almost into Brackett's airspace. If you're at the south intersection, you're okay. So you see the kind of most triangular mountain out there? Let's aim for that. That's Mount Lucan's, the one we were aiming for when we were out in Pasadena a lot. And you can see Mount Wilson.
And is that Strawberry Peak as well, the one?
Peeking out to the left of Wilson and behind, correct.
Prominent because it runs the wrong way for the...
Right. Now, it's hard sometimes because to the west of Mount Wilson is San Gabriel Peak as well. So San Gabriel and Strawberry can be difficult to tell apart from certain angles. Because San Gabriel is actually taller than Mount Wilson.
Significantly?
Not a lot, like a few hundred feet. Okay, now you notice we're slowly climbing this. Okay, and I'm still looking around because that guy hasn't said anything in a while. So now what we're going to do is slow down.
Okay.
And I want to stay at 3,200, and I want to slow down to about 90 miles an hour. So what we're going to have to do is coordination of power and pitch. So reduce power quite a bit. Okay, good. Now, what does the nose naturally want to do? Sink, which would actually speed you up. So now what you're doing is trying to figure out how much can I pull the nose up without climbing? Because if I pull the nose right now, you have enough momentum that you will climb.
Right.
And bleed off speed very quickly. Okay, now, we're in the white arc, you see?
Yes.
Okay, so let's put our 3 seconds of flatness on.
3 seconds flaps.
So pushing it down, that's centered now down. 1001, 1002, 1003, and see how the nose comes up, and try and stabilize it there. Now, our power setting's at about 1900 RPM right now. That's a good power setting.
Okay.
because that addition of flaps is going to take us from about 90 to 80.
So that's the speed we should expect to reach.
Right, and so this configuration, you're going to spend an awful lot of time flying in this configuration, which is 80 miles an hour at about 1900 RPM, flying level altitude, and it's about a level pitch.
Yeah.
Okay? So
can I do the trim?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you feel like you're having to work too hard for a few seconds, feel free to trim. La Habra practice area, Cessna 760 is just south of the landfill, currently northwestbound at 3,200, slow flight, La Habra. Okay, now, you notice your speed has dropped below 80.
Yes.
So all you have to do is lower the nose a little bit. And the reality is at these lower speeds, the drag, you're starting to get on the other side of the drag and power curves, such that really the lowering of the nose had very little to do with your altitude. You notice your altitude didn't really change much, but your airspeed did.
Okay.
So the slower we go, the more you can start to think about the fact that really pitch affects your airspeed, and power is going to determine whether we climb or descend. So we're starting to descend a little. Let's add just a little power. So you notice we're at about 1,800 RPM. As we stabilize, we slow down enough that our power... Yeah, there we go. So we're about 75 feet below our target, so let's add a little more power to help get us back to our target. And as you add the power, what does it naturally want to do? Go ahead and do a whole tone up. There we go, that was about 100 RPM. And our goal is to stay at 3,200 and stay at 80 miles an hour. So we're still a little slow, so go ahead and lower that nose. Because now think of pitch for airspeed, power for altitude, and we're not climbing much, so let's add a little more power. Let's do another whole tone up.
There we go.
Good. Now, careful though, because your nose came up. And so we started to slow down while we were climbing. And as we get closer to the stall speed, slowing down in an effort to climb may be a very bad thing to do. Okay. So now we're going to turn back around towards Santiago Peak.
Keeping this speed?
Keeping the speed, 3,200. So when I'm at these speeds and slower, I would not exceed 30-degree bank. I wouldn't do a steep turn at this speed configuration.
Steep turn is considered 45 degrees?
Correct.
Okay.
So 30 is my limit now.
Okay. Back to the left.
Okay, good. And this speed is what I usually fly, now looking mostly outside of the airplane. This is the speed I'm usually setting up for landing. The airplane, you can tell, is stable, but it's not as responsive as it was at 110 miles an hour. So this is more kind of like driving around town speed. This is kind of the 35-mile-an-hour equivalent versus the 65-mile-an-hour equivalent we were doing earlier. Okay? And then rolling out. Now, notice what happened to our altitude. We had a correction to get us higher, and we've gone a little too high. So now you can reduce power just a bit. There we go. Now notice, we're still climbing, so maybe reduce power a bit more. Because 1900 is kind of my default for expecting it to stay level in this configuration. But it doesn't take much up or down draft to change what the power settings need to be, because 100 foot per minute updraft is nothing.
Okay, so what is considered a significant updraft?
If you are doing 500 feet per minute, that's a significant updraft. But 100 and 200 feet per minute is not uncommon and is detectable. Now notice we're about 100 feet high, so let's reduce power even more. So this is
practice area, Cessna 24512, 3,000 feet.
Runway Cessna 24512, 5 miles west of the 5760 interchange, 3000, departing the practice area, last call, La Habra.
okay. So the 5760 is over there, and she said 5 miles west, which would be not far off of where we are.
Could it be that aircraft there?
Are you seeing him? I'm not seeing him at the moment.
Looks like it's flying over the hills right now.
Okay. They did say they were departing, so I'm guessing that's not a tail number I recognize, so it's probably a Fullerton airplane. So where are you seeing relative to the nose of our airplane?
About 30 degrees.
Okay, so closer to where the intersection
Yeah,
is?
it looks
You
like
see the two bumps in the hill?
Yes.
Where is it relative to that?
Flying right between them. Now it's glinting in the sun.
Above?
Well, from my perspective, right, it looks like it's flying right on the ridge.
Okay.
Look, it's following the 57.
Okay. I don't have them,
right.
but if you do, that's fine. And that's what you're going to find is you're younger than I am. You have better eyes than I do. And so you will occasionally see things I don't see. Okay, and keeping us pointed at our mountain there, 80 and 3,200. So the nice thing with this, so take your hands completely off the airplane.
Very comfortable.
Yeah, and this is why I want you to be able to have this stabilized, is this way you can actually have a few seconds to breathe and be able to think about other things, and the airplane doesn't suddenly do something you don't want it to do. But if you leave it untrimmed and then relax, it starts doing bad things quickly.
Another aircraft at 1 o'clock.
Okay. I still haven't spotted them. So relative to the clouds, how? Oh, got him. Yeah, in the Brea Pass, very low at this point. Okay, got him. Now we're a little low.
Okay.
So lower the nose, and we're a little high, which might actually correct a little with lowering the nose. There we go. Good. Because at 80 miles an hour, it still is a pretty good mix of pitch. Will still make some impact on your altitude, but it'll make a more immediate impact on your airspeed. Okay? And sometimes it's not even that you need to trim. Sometimes just a little, there is friction in the controls, so sometimes just repositioning the controls makes them stick in a slightly different position. Okay, so, you can see, nice and stable.
Yes.
You know, this is, you're going to kind of...
Practice area, Skyhawk 767 Charlie Lima, just off Fullerton, 5 miles out, inbound.
And La Habra Cessna 760 is about 3 southwest of the 5760, 3,200. Slow flight, and we're going to be in the turn back to the northwest. Now we're losing a little altitude, so we need a little power. And yeah, your natural tendency still at the moment is to yank the nose up to try and climb. And what will that do to your speed?
That is.
It would slow it down and upset it exactly. So let's go ahead and make our turn back towards Mount Lukens.
Okay. 20 degrees bank.
Yeah. Now notice we've lost a little airspeed. So lower that nose a little, and maybe add a little bit of power. But don't stare there, mostly looking here.
Our airspeed is back. Altitude.
And you got a little correction going on in your altitude, that's good. Okay, good. Now, nose is a little too high, and what I know will happen is your airspeed will drop pretty quickly there. See how quickly that drops below our target of 80? And what I will be doing when we're getting ready for landing and where we're flying in the pattern near the airport, I'm watching that, and so I can see those pitch changes before you see it happen on that. And what I want you to be attuned to is that a big pitch change up is something you don't want to do because that very quickly heads you towards stalling. So that stability of pitch becomes really important when you're operating close to the ground at speeds that are closer to stall speed than we currently are. Okay? Now, let's put another, right now you see the indication of 3 yellow or green, whichever you think that is, segments. That is 10 degrees. Because there was one segment always on, and each segment is 5 degrees of flap deflection after that. So in order to get 20 degrees, do another 3 seconds of flaps. But don't look at the indicator, look outside the airplane. Because what does the nose want to do? Pop up, and you don't want to let it. So put the pitch back where it was, about there. And now we're going to be at about 75 as our target. So lower the nose just a little bit. La Habra practice area, Cessna 760 is just a couple miles east of Industry Hills, 3,200 northwestbound. Now, our speed's dropping to 70, so go ahead and lower it to and find 75, trim if you need to. But the reality is the addition of the flaps and slowing down doesn't typically need a lot of trim.
Cessna's over top of the One Hills Mall, 3000 eastbound, La Habra.
He's just south of us someplace if his report is correct. And a little below us. Now, one of the problems you start to realize is a lot of people say they're over something when the reality is they're still a couple of miles away from it. Because I haven't spotted him. Okay, so our target is 3,275, so make adjustments as necessary. Okay, so we're a little slow. Our target's 75, so lower that nose a little. And we're a little high, so let's reduce power a bit. But when you do that, just be careful, the nose wants to drop more. There we go, good. So there, you see that you've got a correction going. La Habra, Cessna 760 is right over Industry Hills, 3,200 currently northwestbound La Habra. Now I look down and I just barely can see the golf course, so we truly are more over it. And you see this big open area here? That's a landfill. It's marked on the chart as though that were a mine. It looks a little bit like an open pit mine.
Is it active?
It is not. Okay. So that's why it's not as clearly mine looking as it normally would be. Okay. Just lower the nose a little. We're right at our target altitude. Okay. Now, we're at 30 degrees. You've got two orange segments showing there.
Yeah.
So now, we're at 20 degrees. So to go to 30 degrees, let's do 2 seconds of flaps.
Okay.
Okay, and release. And you're now at 4 oranges. That's 30 degrees.
Okay.
Okay. And now we're at about 70.
Is that what we'd expect?
That's our expectation, is kind of a 5-mile-per-hour drop per notch of flaps with a constant pitch.
Okay.
Now, at 30 degrees, what does start to happen sometimes is you get a little more drag such that it needs more power to maintain level flight.
So we're dropping a little bit.
So add a little power. So that'd be kind of my minimum. That maybe got us back to level, and we need to adjust, so let's do another adjustment in power.
Power's low now.
Okay, now, at the same time, we're trying to keep us at 70 as our target, so lower that nose. And what did we say our final approach speed for landing was?
69.
So, 70 is a good approximation of what we're going to be landing at. So you can start to feel the airplane is even between 70 and 80. You can feel the difference in responsiveness.
Yes.
There's a lot more dead zone. If you push, it takes a while before anything really happens. And you do need a little more power. Good. Now don't let that nose come up, because, so, how close are you to the bottom of the white arc right now?
Right, 10 miles an hour, 15.
Yeah. So that white arc is where you expect the airplane to stall in 1G conditions. Okay, let's make a turn back to the southeast.
Okay.
So you're going to need quite a bit more power. There we go. Now you're at 70. So now you're adding power. And let's start to turn as well. And looking forward now, I see the nose starting to come up. Because your brain has already started to do the, in a turn, I need to pull.
Yes.
But in a slow turn, I may not want to pull. I may want to add power instead. Now we're getting near our 30-degree bank limit, so don't go past that. There we go. And our mountain off in the distance there. I see the nose coming up, and you see your speed dropping.
Yes.
Okay. Now you also notice it's much easier for the airplane to start to oscillate here.
Yes.
Because it's slow in response. So if you overdo the corrections, what you end up doing is just sitting here slowly oscillating back and forth. That's what we call PIO. Pilot-induced oscillation. Because the airplane doesn't do it on its own. If you take your hands off, now what is the nose starting to do as you take your hands off?
Creeping up.
Yeah. So, just a little adjustment. this airplane will go to 40 degrees flaps. For the moment, we're not going to use that.
Is that the landing configuration? Or?
It can be, but for the moment, we're not going to use the 40 degrees flaps because two things. One, the other two 172s do not have 40 degrees flaps. So if you get used to them, you get used to things you can't do in the other airplanes. It can be useful, but the other thing is this is also the lowest powered airplane. So at 40 degrees of flaps, this airplane has a real problem trying to stay level or even climb at 40 degrees of flaps. So on landing, if you need to not land, if you need to do a go-around, you are in a configuration that's going to make that more difficult. Whereas 30 degrees, you can see you're staying level, and you're only at about 2100 RPM. So you could